BeTheTalk, episode 246, featuring Afshin Khan. Welcome to BeTheTalk. We go behind the talk 7 days a week for tips and techniques to help you change the world. I'm Nathan Eckel, and a talker myself. I'm interviewing others who change the world with their talk. You can too, even if you've never given a talk before. Let's get started with today's show. We are live with Afshin Khan. Afshin, are you ready to talk?
Yes, let's do this.
Afshin Khan is an astrobiologist, Earth system scientist, and entrepreneur. Afshin grew up in India, went to graduate school in the UK, worked in Germany, and then came to the United States for her PH.D. Afshin is most passionate about solving big problems on Earth and advancing humans further into space. Now, I love this. Welcome, Afshin, to the talk.
Thank you, Nathan. Thanks for having me.
Your talk is called What Do We Do When We Get to Mars? We're going to Mars. One of your favorite people right now is Elon Musk that you referenced in your talk. And it's all about colonizing Mars. So what are your thoughts about that? Please, Afshin, take us behind the talk.
All right. So I have various thoughts about Mars. I have too many thoughts about Mars. So as an astrobiologist, looking at Mars from the perspective of how to look for life on Mars and what are some of the things that need to be ready before we can even send humans there. Those are some of the things that I was working on during my PhD. My PhD was more of a geomicrobiology project, so it was dealing with what are the biosignatures that we want to look for when we have the next life detection mission going up on Mars. After my PhD, though, I've started to focus on, I should say, during my PhD, I had these side projects that I was working on, one of which was, I talked about during the TEDx talk, was looking at what kind of crops or how do you grow crops on Mars? Because if you're ever going to set up a colony or a human colony anywhere in the universe, growing food is very, very important. So that was something I really got interested in and started looking at. But after my PhD, I'm trying to get involved myself in more such projects that actually are technologies that need to be developed before humans can even set up a colony there. And that's something Elon talks about quite a lot. The one time I visited SpaceX, one thing they were talking about is that Elon or SpaceX, they just want to focus on transportation. They're going to transport people there. They're a rocket company, but they really want other people, scientists, engineers, entrepreneurs, whoever, to get involved and start developing other technologies that are required to set up a human base. And there are too many things that are required. So I'm just trying to get some of those covered.
All right. So if I understand this correctly, then Afshin is part of the farmer community, the space farmer community, and Elon Musk and SpaceX, they're basically the Uber drivers for space, but you're going to be the farmer.
I guess you can say that, but not just the farmer. I'm also looking at a few other things.
Like what? Yes. So you're the farmer. What else are you doing?
Something else I started working on is related with carbon nanotubes. So there are technologies like for various purposes, water filtration, and for building the aerospace structures and material. You need carbon nanotubes seem to play a very big role in bringing down the costs. And I'm working with a company currently, and we are trying to see how we can get partnerships with, say, NASA or SpaceX in producing these high-quality carbon nanotube composites for aerospace material or for any material that will be required for building structures on Mars, so even solar panels and so on and so forth.
All right,
so that's something I just started.
You've said this a few times, and lay people like me. So you're talking about the carbon nanotubes.
Yes, nanotubes.
Are they like frozen fuel cells or something like that?
So it can be used for various purposes. Mm-hmm. One of the challenges that since the inception that the industry has faced is that how to mass produce them and how to scale it up. Mm-hmm. And that's been a challenge that one company that I came across has been solving, is how to produce these single-wall carbon nanotubes and scale it up. And so far they've received quite good results. And I cannot really speak a lot about who their customers are right now because of privacy reasons and whatnot. But we are trying to focus that because the CEO of that company is also very motivated for developing technologies for Mars and everything. Also something that can be potentially beneficial for Earth, because that's our approach. Whatever we develop first has to be tested out on Earth. It should be helping Earth problems, solve Earth problems first, and then we are going to find a way to get it to Mars.
Great. So just to interrupt here. So the carbon nanotubes, are they for fuel? Are they for air quality and filtration? Did I hear those two things, or am I a little off there?
One of the applications we are looking at is for water filtration.
Okay.
The other aspect, or the other area we are looking at, is to develop composite materials with carbon nanotubes and then other alloys that can potentially become material for aerospace, for building aerospace, spaceships or rockets and whatnot.
Okay, so a building, water filtration, and then also it could be a building block, almost like a Lego block for other things that you can construct.
Sure.
Just trying to simplify this all for the non-science people out there in Talk Universe, but this is fascinating stuff. We have been talking to Afshin Khan. Her talk is called, if I can pull this up, her talk is called "What Do We Do When We Get to Mars?" And I'm really excited because my wife points out Mars just about every night now, so I can actually see Mars with the naked eye, which I could never do before. It's always been there, but I'm very excited about that. We're going to be right back with Afshin Khan in just a moment for the Blitz Round. People ask, how could I start a 7-day-a-week podcast? It's because of what I've learned from my mentors. Some of the best mentors in history aren't around anymore. They've left hours of one-on-one mentoring behind in their books. Each month at Classics on Tap, I record a new chapter from a classic business book to help you make a difference. Download your first chapter at classicsontap.com. And we're back. It is time for the Blitz Round with Afshin Khan. We are going to ask her a series of either-or questions related to the preparation and performance of her recent TEDx Washington State University talk. Are you ready, Afshin?
Yes.
All right. First question, were you invited to speak or did you apply?
I was invited.
When you speak, are you a memorizer, improviser, or a blender?
I would say an improviser for sure.
How did that work for you with a very highly, heavily science-related talk? Was that workable for you?
It does work most of the times. I just go from there because I find it hard to prepare a talk and then remember everything I wanted to say, and then I just go up on stage. I also am an introverted person, so standing up in front of an audience and talking, even though I teach a class of 200 people, but a TED Talks, you have a different audience there, so it can kind of make you nervous.
Different
animal. I just try. Yes, yeah. So one of the ways I got over this was I used to do drama in high school. I got into acting because I was a really bad speaker. I could never raise up my hand in class and answer teachers' questions. So, so I just improvised. That's what works for me.
Well, that was my next question. Did you have nerves or were you in the zone or neither or both? You had nerves, but you pulled from some of your tips from drama class and you got through. Anything more specific than that?
I did have nerves. I remember I was so nervous before. I think my talk was scheduled sometime in the afternoon around 2:00 or something like that. And an hour or 45 minutes before the talk, I was actually in deep sleep at home because I was so nervous since morning that day. I just took a nap and then I woke up, went to the venue and just gave my talk. It was over. It's a rather small talk, so I think it was that kind of worked for my benefit.
What's a tip, a tool, or a technique that helped you prepare?
Talking about something that you're really passionate about, I think, plays a key role in how well you deliver a talk. This is also true for when I teach. And throughout the semester, if it's a topic that I really, really love, like, for example, I teach Earth science, and there's something called plate tectonics. It explains how our planet has formed and shaped. That's something I'm really passionate about. And when I'm giving a lecture on plate tectonics, my students love it. They get everything, and I'm in the zone. as opposed to something that I'm talking about, maybe different kinds of minerals that rocks are made up of. It's kind of a rather boring topic. I'm not in the zone so much. And yeah, I just drone on, and my lectures tend to get boring. So yeah, I guess being passionate about what you're talking kind of brings it through to the audience.
Afshin, this is the cut for time question. What was the most painful part of your talk that you had to cut out?
Oh, it's been a while. That'll be difficult to answer.
Oh, that's good.
Yes.
That's good. Might not have been too painful then.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Maybe the details of the project that I work on, because sometimes we are not allowed to say things out publicly. Especially if you're collaborating on a project with NASA and some of these folks, you're not supposed to make public statements like that. So yeah, I did cut out some of the details of the things we were working on back then. Yeah. Great.
Afshin, were you an opener? Were you a closer, or were you somewhere in between?
I was right before the person who was the closer. So mine was the second last. Yeah. So the last segment for this TEDx, Washington State University in 2014 was towards space exploration. And I was just one of the two speakers. So the last speaker was someone who spoke on rocket science. He was a rocket engineer. So he was the last speaker, and I spoke as an astrobiologist right before him.
Well, great. What was, last question, what was the most unexpected, strange, or just plain weird thing that happened during or right before your talk?
Right before my talk. Cole, he's a professor who introduced me, and I was kind of very surprised that he introduced my talk by drawing a reference of Elon Musk, because I'm a huge fan. And I was like, it's really an honor to be spoken in the same sentence as Elon Musk, because, he's pretty great. So, that was a nice surprise. The other surprise right after the talk, how well it was received, because I really didn't think it was that great of a talk, because I was a case of nerves at that time, and I thought I did a horrible job. But yeah, some people saw that and they were like, oh no, it was actually pretty good. You should have talked for longer, maybe. So I was like, oh, well, those 5 minutes were probably the hardest as well. So yeah.
Well, excellent. We've been talking with Afshin Khan. Her talk is called What Do We Do When We Get to Mars? And if you want to check out this exciting talk, you can go to our show notes page at BeTheTalk.com. We'll have a link right there to What Do We Do When We Get to Mars? And we will also have a link to Afshin's LinkedIn profile, so you can actually connect with her and be able to move along from there. Afshin was telling me before we hit the record button how busy she is. And so that's one of the reasons why she funnels everything through LinkedIn. And we'll give you a link to her profile for those of you that want to connect with her. And we will be back in just a moment for the final word of advice. Everyone wants to change the world, but not everyone knows the first step. Before you can change the world with your talk, it has to be selected. So grab the templates, timelines, and tools that I use to get my talk selected at BeTheTalk.com. And we're back with Afshin Khan. It is time for the final word of advice.
All right. Final word of advice is go after whatever you're passionate about. Do not let anyone in the world, absolutely anyone, tell you that you cannot do it.
Afshin Khan, thank you so much for coming on the talk today and sharing your wisdom with Talk Universe.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to Be The Talk. For tips and resources to help you change the world, go to BeTheTalk.com. See you tomorrow.